Hi everyone, and welcome to SWPL My Story. And today we've got something a little bit different for you. Something that we are massive advocates for is the importance of grassroots football within the women's game and helping it grow. And that is the foundation of everything we do. So off the back of that, we have asked Gary Dickson of Busby Girls to come along and chat to us about his club. How are you doing, Gary?
Good, thanks, mate. Yeah, yourself?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks, and thanks so much for joining us today. And it's one that I'm really looking forward to. My background is in grassroots football, and I love to hear other success stories from across the country. So, just to kick us off, can you just give us a little bit of the background and the history of the Busby Girls, where they're based, how it came into being?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks for having us on. Obviously, really appreciate you asking us first and foremost. So, yeah, Busby Girls been going for about 18 months now. It feels like a hell of a lot longer than that, based on the work that's involved. But we set the club up back in July 2022. We had roughly 15, 20 girls who were with us at a previous club. We didn't feel as if the girls were getting the same opportunities as the boys, and we decided, can we make this better for them? And that's where sort of Busby Girls originated from. Myself and a couple of the coaches approached Busby, a club that I've been associated with for years, and said, can we build a girls club? And it was a bit of a pipe dream at that point. Now sitting where we are 18 months later, I had absolutely no idea it was going to get as big as it did. But we're based in Clarkston. We originated in East Kilbride, so we have a lot of girls who are from East Kilbride, Clarkston. But because we've moved down the road to Busby now, 3-4 miles down the road, we're picking up a lot of girls from Giffnock and Newton Mearns and the surrounding areas. So we went from 20 odd girls. I checked Spawned just before I came on the call because I lost track a wee bit. And yeah, 18 months down the line, we're up to 168 girls now, which is just absolutely mad. We started under 10s team and we've got multiple teams now from under 7s to under 14s. So stressful, but really proud of how it's grown as well.
Yeah, I think the reason we contacted you was I could just see from all the socials how active you are, how many teams there are, and I knew that you would only be going for such a short time, but to get that kind of participation levels, it shows two things. One, that you have absolutely nailed it and you are doing incredibly well with what you are providing, but secondly, the demand is enormous for girls football, and it'd be amazing to think that all the girls that you have at the club, where would they be if you hadn't set this club up 18 months ago?
That's the crazy thing. I actually think we benefited from the back of the Women's Euros because obviously the club was set up just in the back of that summer. So a lot of girls were watching that on television. A lot of girls were maybe kicking a ball about in the garden. It was a lot more than anything else. But we set the club up at a good time when people were actively seeing female footballers on the television. I think a lot of girls then had the confidence to go, do you know what, that's something that I'd like to give a go to. So I think we've been quite fortunate that way, but at the same time, I think what we offer is really good as well. So I'm not going to play that down. I know we'd spoken offline, and I was saying about the importance of just participation and enjoyment. Obviously, everybody wants to win. We're no different. Obviously, you'd love to win every game and stuff, but that's action point 3, 4, 5 down the priority list from our point of view. It's about getting girls just participating in sport, building their confidence, developing their social skills, ultimately making more friends as well is what it's all about. And I think that's where the club has went from strength to strength. Girls joining the club, going back to school and saying to their friends, absolutely loved last night at training, loved my game at the weekend, why don't you come and try it? And organically, the club has really just grown from there. I think I've put out one or two recruitment posts over the 18 months that we've been up and running. It's really just grown from word of mouth, Martin.
So I don't know if I actually got long enough on the recording for this, but could you just kind of summarise like this, what it entails in your role heading this organisation up? And it must be ever evolving with it being such a short period of time.
Yeah, well, first of all, I had to rope the wife in to help me. We would absolutely have got a divorce, mate, because I was just on my phone so much doing things. I'm sure it's the same for other people that run girls and boys grassroots clubs, but fundamentally I just oversee the full thing, Martin. So one part of that is obviously ensuring that we've got access to facilities, so the likes of parks and facilities for girls to train and play on. I run like Respond, which is a really good app where we get lots of communications out to the parents. A big part of the job is getting parents involved in the coaching. I think, again, going back to my original point about our success story, the coaches, I can't speak highly enough of the people we have at Busby Girls, because every single coach we have is a parent of a girl. And I think that's really important because they ultimately have the vested best interests of the girls at heart. So I can't speak highly enough of the coaches that we have. So again, I need to do a bit of convincing, sell the dream to get them involved, get them into Spond, looking after everyone in terms of making sure everyone's got the relevant qualifications, organising training, sending out invites. It almost feels like a full-time job, Martin, to be honest with you, but I absolutely love it because come a Sunday night when I'm doing all the social media stuff, looking at all the pictures that we've got and the videos from the weekend, you just see over 150, 160 happy young girls' faces, and it just makes it, although it can be stressful at times, it just makes it so worthwhile, mate, to be honest.
But I think that a big testament to the success over such a short period of time as well was the nomination that he's received for Club of the Year, which, having been in existence for only 18 months, even less time when the nomination came out, that must have absolutely blown you away. But again, reaffirmed and probably reinvigorated you to keep going and to keep driving everything forward.
I mean, I no idea when that email landed in the inbox. I could honestly have cried, to be honest with you, when I first seen it. But it gave us a bit of pride. Not that we need anyone to tell us we're doing anything good. We know what we provide for the girls. We do lots of extra curricular stuff with them outside of football as well to make sure the girls are feeling included, they're making friends. But that was just a real testament and a shot in the arm to all the good work that not just me, but all of the coaches do across the full club. So yeah, it was a good night out and stuff like that at the awards. We got a table and there was a lot of the coaches came along to sharing the success. And yeah, although we don't do this for awards, we do everything for the benefit of the girls. It was really cool to receive that, I must admit.
So at this stage, it's probably your mind will be going 100 miles an hour. But from speaking with you, and you're obviously well structured and well planned, what is the longer term plan for Busby Girls?
Oh, I need to hide every girl that I'm adding into Spawn. I've promised all the coaches. I think I promised all the coaches once we got to 100, we would stop. And I gradually say no to any girl that wants to come and play football, whether that's a 5-year-old or a 14-year-old, a really experienced girl or a girl that's brand new to football. I find it really difficult to say no to anyone. We'll always just try and accommodate people and make it work. So to answer your question, when we started 18 months ago, I wanted to run 2 under-10s teams. We've now got a massive amount of under-7s, under-8s. We've got 4 under-10s teams. We've got 4 potentially going to 5 under-12s teams. We're now right through to competitive under-14s football, which is just beyond my wildest dreams sort of 12, 18 months ago. So we've got 2 under-14s teams. So to answer your question, I'd absolutely love to build a pathway through at Busby Girls to eventually having a women's team. And if you'd have said to me 12 months ago, you'll have an under-8s and under-7s, I'd have laughed at it. But here we are 18 months later, having all those age groups. And because of the organic growth in the girls we have, looking at the ages of the girls we have in our 14s, a lot of them will naturally move to 16s at the end of 2024. So we'll just organically grow, I'd like to think. And it's just about keeping girls involved in football, regardless of whether they're winning or losing. I want to just give them that platform that if they want to continue playing, I want to facilitate that so that they can stay and play with Busby. But yeah, the dream would eventually be to be a full pathway club all the way through.
It sounds like you're well on your way to it, and you might get there sooner than you anticipated, just like you have with everything else. So I think you'd be a fantastic person to hear from on this part. So the grassroots clubs are the foundation of everything. Every woman that we see on TV at the moment started at a grassroots club. However, there's some massive support needed from our governing bodies, from our government themselves to help support and sustain that. So from someone who's well involved in it, What would your personal opinions be on what that support would look like and how it would benefit the clubs the most?
I'm a big advocate. You've probably seen me on Twitter, as everyone who's probably watching this. I'm a massive advocate of just constantly challenging and trying to make the girls' game as good as it possibly can be for not just elite players, but for people who are just picking up a ball for the first time. And a massive frustration of mine is that I just think we've got such a massive opportunity with the growth numbers in the game, the participation levels at the moment, Martin, that we seem to be focusing on the elite side of it. And I know that's how the boys sort of do it. The girls' game, I think, is totally different. And I just think we're on the cusp of missing a massive opportunity here. If I'm a great believer in, if you're building a pyramid or if you're building just a house, you start from the foundations, and the foundations of anything is the foundations of girls' football or boys' football is the grassroots game. So if we just focus on this elite part up here, eventually girls will start to drop out of the game and we'll lose numbers. I hear lots of people talking about the numbers and the number of girls that get to 14s and 16s that drop out of the game. I completely want to buck that trend, as I'm sure a lot of other clubs do as well. But I'm a bit concerned at the moment that our governing bodies, if you like, so we've got the SFA now taking over girls' elite football, we've then got Scottish women's football sort of overseeing the sort of grassroots side of it. And I worry that that won't connect with one another and people will look out for their own vested interests there. So I just think we've got a massive opportunity. I look at the likes of, so obviously our club's success was built on the back of the Women's Euros, girls watching football. I think back to recently at Hampden, there was the Lionesses were coming up to Hampden to play against Scotland. And we took all of the Busby Girls along to experience that, to give them that sort of dream and aim that that's something they can perhaps aim for one day. And I'm sitting in the stadium thinking, the stadium is 3/4 empty. I'm looking around the stands and it's completely empty. Martin, I'm just thinking there was a massive opportunity to give tickets to every girls' club in the country, regardless of age, go around the schools, give tickets to girls that perhaps want to get involved in football as well. And I just worry we almost follow this boys' process of national performance and elite, and we forget where these players actually come from. There won't be an elite if we don't get the grassroots side of the game sorted. And I think there should be a bigger emphasis and much more support on the structure of the grassroots game, which will inevitably filter through to the elite game.
Nah, I couldn't agree with you more, Gary. If we don't get that right, there is no future for the elite level. So there has to be, to use your words, that connect between the grassroots level and the elite level. But we are at a perfect opportunity to do that. But we need to act on it whilst the interest is there and we're still driving forward. But I just wanted to thank you. It was really inspiring listening to you. You can clearly see and hear your passion and everything that you do, even though you're probably overworked and but you know that's why we do it. That's why we all get involved in grassroots football. But thanks very much for joining us today.
No, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it, mate. Thank you again.
And thanks everyone for joining us on SWPL My Story.